In this video, we're going to talk about the early David Bowie albums, the albums where he didn't really know what he was doing and he didn't know what style he was going to pursue. So they're very interesting albums to look at because they're, of course, very unsure and very unpredictable. But you know what? There's some good things looking back. So let's take a nostalgic look back at albums that kind of get ignored in Bowie's discography. It's the first three: David Bowie, Space Oddity, and The Man Who Sold the World. The first one, David Bowie, released in 1967, is a very bizarre affair. It's bonkers. Now, it's basically Bowie trying things out, throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. But it kind of has this light-hearted, childhood-focused approach. There's many songs on here that are about reminiscing of childhood, the innocence of childhood, sweet, kind of calming, soothing songs such as Come and Buy My Toys. I really like that one. I think the guitar is very charming on that. And Bowie sounds very charming. He sounds very appreciative of just the mind of a youngster. Like, it's very much about those feelings that are conjured up. And the whole album kind of has this childhood TV show quality to it. Like, every song sounds like it could be, well, a lot of the songs sound like they could be theme tunes for TV shows. Like the start of the opening track, Uncle Arthur, starts off with claps, and then it's just very light-hearted and chirpy and chipper. But it's actually about this kind of hapless person who tries to move out of his parents' house and then is forced to move back. So it's very much about the mundanity. It's very much about that idea of British disappointment that's all over this song.
Strikes the bell for 5 o'clock. Uncle Arthur closes shop, screws the tops on all the bottles, turns the lights out, locks it up, climbs across his bike and he's away.
And Bowie was all about telling stories about people on this debut album. He thought that was the direction he was going to go. He thought he was just going to be observational. He was very into poems at the time. He loved just talking about other people and telling these short stories, of course. Tracks like Sell Me a Coat are, again, very childlike sounding, very nursery rhyme style. And all the songs are kind of like that. There Is a Happy Land, very childhood focused and very innocent and yearning. And the instruments on the album, there's a lot of strings, there's a lot of bells. It's a very pleasant sounding album. Very musical influence, wood focused instruments as opposed to probably what was going on in other music at the time. It did sound fresh for 1967. Now you listen to it today, it's incredibly dated. Bowie doesn't sound sure of himself. He doesn't sound confident. His voice isn't spectacular, but you can tell there is a talent there. You can tell he is going to go on and do big things. He had potential. This album did flop, however, and he followed it up in 1969 with Space Oddity, which for me is a real jump up in quality from that first album. That first album, kind of a bit laughable in moments, kind of a bit silly, even though I do like it. He kind of jumps. He makes a cataclysmic jump on the next one. There's a real focus on more folky rock and acoustic led. There's lots of wistful, yearning acoustic numbers on this one's tracks like Letters to Hermione, which is one of the most genuine and from the heart songs Bowie ever wrote. You can tell that he genuinely means it. It is from his heart. Obviously, he went on to do a lot of songs that were from a character's perspective and just very, someone else, someone he had dreamt up. But here, he's actually, this is clearly coming from him. It is such a affectionate and loving vocal from Bowie. He just sounds full of love for this woman, Hermione. And it's refreshing to go back and hear Bowie genuinely loved up, I guess.
I care for no one else but you. I tear my soul to cease the pain. I think maybe you feel the same.
It's just a lovely sound, that track. It's so gentle. And I wish Bowie had done more of it. This very much, back here, Bowie was just jumping from genre to genre because he was trying to find what worked for him. So a lot of the sounds and a lot of the styles we never got to hear again, really. And I wish we could have heard more acoustic-led Bowie love songs, because he's really melancholy and really pulls at your heartstrings here. And of course, there's tracks like Janine, which is kind of a jumpy, jovial, catchy song. However, again, it's about a genuine reaching out to a person, a genuine affection for a woman. This time it's about Bowie's mental health stopping him from getting in a relationship. You know, the lyric, Janine, Janine, you'd like to know me well, but I've got things inside my head that even I can't fix. If you took an axe to me, you'd hit another man, not me at all. The identity crisis was beginning for Bowie. You know, he very much was struggling to know who he was. I really like that vulnerability that he shows on tracks like Janine. I love Janine, though, because it brings in some drums. It brings in some, more of an upbeat, rocky feel. And I love songs like Space Oddity. Obviously, Space Oddity is an absolute masterpiece. To go from the first album to Space Oddity is a massive achievement. What a jump that is. Space Oddity, just this epic, foreboding, looming, mysterious number with incredible atmosphere, an unforgettable Bowie vocal. We still remember that astronaut talking to us, don't we? We still remember those lines around Control to Major Tom. That's ingrained in everyone's minds. And this was only his second album, and it's following, something that wasn't that incredible. He wrote an incredible song here. It was his first hit. God Knows I'm Good was a great song on here. It's about, Bowie was still trying to run with his observational with this song. He was telling a story of an old lady who he actually saw in a newspaper at the time, who shoplifted and got caught. And the line is obviously, God knows I'm good, maybe God will turn the other way today. It's about this old lady who's desperate and she shoplifts. And it's about her perspective of, I'm a good person, but I'm about to do this. Maybe God will turn the other way. It's about that kind of internal dialogue we all have of justifying bad actions, and also which actions are really that bad. Bowie said he wrote this song because people don't communicate anymore, and people don't tell each other how they're feeling, and people don't tell each other their concerns. He said that in 1969. How crazy is that? That's sad. Talking about how people don't support each other and aren't there for each other and just condemn each other, and we end up desperate and we end up doing this. That's just continued since 1969. That's crazy. God Knows I'm Good is a nice little charming song with a good message behind it, that people aren't bad who do little acts. We should always look at what happened behind it, and we should always look at the scale of the act and not just condemn everyone. Fortunately, this record didn't really catapult him to the top. He had a hit with it, but the album wasn't promoted well. Things went wrong along there. But, the wholesome folksiness is what I like about this one, and he couldn't repeat it because he was just trying to find that formula until he took off. So then he went on to do The Man Who Sold the World in 1970, which, I actually prefer Space Oddity as an album. I think The Man Who Sold the World, Bowie was really starting to tap into some darkness, some alienation, some identity crisis, really starting to go with it. And there's a shift in sound again. This is more hard rock, this is more hippie rock, this is more Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath sounding. Mick Ronson comes in on the guitar, who would be one of the, the Spiders from Mars. And he really starts to make his presence known. And Mick Woodmansey comes in on the drums as well. And it starts to feel more like a band. And immediately, the first song, A Width of a Circle, is immediate, rock. It's immediately with the guitar led and heavier than what we know from Bowie. And it's a good opening track, a good beat, and it warms you up for what he's about to do, which is psychedelic, kind of hippie, heavier rock. All the Madmen is a spectacular song on the album. Bowie was coming to terms with the fact that his brother was in a mental facility, a mental illness facility. And this song for me is a celebration of that. It's not necessarily a desperate, you know, plea to like let him out. It was kind of like an idea of maybe we're the insane ones. You know, the lyric, I'd rather be here with all the mad men than out there with all the sad men. That's a captivating line, and it makes you think, you know, even though we're conventionally sane out here, how much more saner are we than those people? You know, a lot of us are sad, a lot of us are just appearing sane for the hell of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or trying to appear so together or whatever it is. Whereas Bowie was kind of just looking at those people and going, well, maybe in a way they've got it right because they've just completely let go of this crazy facade of a world that we live in. This is a very disturbing sounding song, very weird in moments, very odd, lots of shifts in pace. And again, it's Bowie kind of singing passionately. He believes this passionately from the heart. And it's, you know, it's about that area that not a lot of people talk about, like mental illness back here. Like, it was incredibly new back here, and Bowie was fascinated in the fact that his brother was involved in that. So it's a passionate song, and it's freaky and it's a bit disturbing, and that is all through the album. You know, lots of psychedelic weird cuts, weird noises out of nowhere, weird phrases by Bowie, weird shifts of pace and delivery. Like, the album is very weird and lurking and looming and bizarre, but it's very heavy. There's some good guitar on here, and there are some good tracks. One of the most disturbing songs is Running Gun Blues, which is a condemnation of the Vietnam War, and it's a devastating piece of work because Bowie's just saying out loud, I'll slash them, I'll crack their heads, I'll, you know, blow up bombs underneath their beds. It's about a soldier who comes back from war and still wants to do that. So that's incredibly disturbing. Because obviously about the effect of war, how he's still trigger happy when he comes back, and he's kind of happy and he desires that. And, you know, that's weird. And also the it's one of the most sing-along songs on the album. So Bowie's just saying these straight up lines about murder, but then you're actually singing along. Like, that's the weird dichotomy Bowie had. He started to make anything sing along. Also want to talk about The Man Who Sold the World, the title track. It's a hard one to sum up this. I think this is one of the greatest songs ever written. I just think it's staggering. Like, I think it's incredible.
We passed up on the stair. We spoke of was and when.
It's hard to even sum up because it's such an ambiguous song. But it's so weird and it's so mysterious and it's so haunting. I love that kind of gyro, I think it's called, the instrument used in the verses. And I love the kind of approach to the twists and turns of the verses and the story of the song. It just conjures up in my head this kind of doomsday utopia of this person walking and then meeting someone and having that conversation. But, you know, Bowie actually revealed it was about meeting a doppelganger of yourself. That's why, in one moment it says, we never lost control. It's about being a doppelganger of yourself. But I think there's many, many ways to take this song. There's melancholy to take from it. There's doom to take from it. There's mystery to take from it. And, you know, the lines really make the hair stand up on the back of my neck.
I thought you died alone a long, long time ago.
The words are great on this. And they, you know, they're not overly dressed up in metaphor, but they don't necessarily, they're ambiguous. And the man who sold the world is such a spectacular phrase. What does that mean? When he says, I never lost control, but you're face to face with the man who sold the world. That's, you could sit and think for that for days.
I know, not me. I never lost control. Your face to face with the man who sold the world.
Like, this song is endlessly fascinating in my book. I love it. I love the sound. The guitar riff is stunning. I'm not the biggest blues fan, so I'm not the biggest fan of the blues stuff on here, but this riff is just 5-star. It's unbelievable. It's just great. It gets under your skin, this riff. There's a certain mood to this song that I don't know if Bowie ever replicated again. I think it's one of the most unique songs he ever wrote. And he was starting to realise that he could just experiment and take music in new directions, because this was a new direction even within this album. Like, it's an unbelievable song. So I think these albums deserve to be remembered. I think they show a lot of different sides of Bowie. They show ambition, they show a sensitivity, they show desire and yearning, and they show songwriting abilities. Each album gets better in different ways. So what do you guys think? Do you love the early Bowie albums as much as me? What's your favourite album out of these? What's your favourite songs out of these? Let me know in the comments below and we can talk about it. Please consider subscribing if you love to talk about British rock and all this sort of stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video.